Hello, and welcome to Windows 10 Basics. We are going to get started in just about a minute. We are waiting on a few more people. But before we get started, thanks for coming. You will notice in the bottom, we either have a Q&A section or a chat section. So throughout the class today, if you have any questions, feel free to put your question either in the Q&A or the chat. Also, before we get started, I will let you know we also have a class coming up at the end of this month. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. There we are. On Monday, November 29th at 2 p.m., we will have Windows 11 Basics, which is the next Windows system that will be coming out this year. So that will be replacing Windows 10 and all new computers. But if you still have Windows 10 on your computer, this class will help you. Otherwise, if you're getting a newer computer, Windows 11 Basics virtual program on the 29th will be helpful for you. Okay. All right. I will get started on our class today. Give me one moment. Here we are. Okay. So again, my name is Christina Vincent, and I'll be starting the Windows 10 Basics class with you. To get started, I will go over what we'll be covering in this class today. We'll be starting with terminology and descriptions. Then we'll be going into accessing apps or the applications. Then we'll go into customizing your start menu. Then we'll also go over system settings, the File Explorer, and then if we have time, I'll also touch on Microsoft Edge, which is the internet browser that comes with Windows 10. So first, terminology and descriptions. First, we'll start with the Start menu. That can be found in the bottom left corner of your screen and contains the way to access the applications and programs. You can see the little icon, what it looks like here. It kind of looks like a Windows pane. Also, in Windows 10, they have what's called tiles. They can be found in the Start menu, and it is one way that you can use to start or launch applications. It's also a quick way to access them. Next is apps or programs. Apps is short for applications. They are the software that's on your computer that runs your that is able to run. Google Chrome, Microsoft Word, iTunes, all sorts of applications and programs. Some come standard with Windows 10, and others you have to buy on your own. Next is the desktop. That is the customizable primary display of your screen. It's usually what is the picture that's in the background. And that is what usually you see when you first start up Windows 10. Cortana, this is the voice-activated assistant that can be used to perform certain tasks or discover information. It's kind of like what is taken over as the search bar at the bottom of your screen. And you can use it as voice activated, or you can just type in what you want to search for. The taskbar is the stationary strip of open programs and frequently used programs that you can find at the bottom of your screen. So you can have a set of icons just standardly put there. So if you use some programs often, you can just have them at the bottom of your taskbar to quick open. And also the taskbar shows all the programs that you have open at that time. And then you also have shut down and log off. This is where you can power down your computer or device. You can also log off, which will just sign out of your profile, but still keep the tablet or computer open or on. And so next I'll be going into accessing apps. Again, if at any point during the program or class you have questions or you want me to go over something again, we have the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen, or the chat option should also be at the bottom left of your screen. So at any point during the program, you can put any questions in there, and I will answer them. So accessing apps. You'll begin at the Start menu at the bottom left of your screen. As you can see in this picture here, again, the Start menu looks like the Windows, hence why it's called Windows. Your symbol is Windows. You can click on that, and you should see a screen like this open up, along with the search bar that will open up down here. You can either scroll down through this menu here. Your programs should be alphabetized. It will start with numbers, and then it will go through A, B, C, like that. You could either scroll down through the menu to search for the program, or you can see on the rightmost side here, these are the tiles. A lot of times your most frequently used programs will show up here. It will have Microsoft Edge or email or your calendar usually right here. So you could double click on it also right here. And yeah, this is the apps list here, alphabetized. You can also search using Cortana. That would be the search bar that's going to be at the bottom of your screen. You can just start typing in the name of the app, or speaking into Cortana if you have your microphone enabled. And you could just search for the app that way, and it'll pull it up, and you would double click on it right there. You can also switch in between apps. So if you have multiple applications or programs open at a time, you can quickly switch between them. Either you can click on them down in the taskbar if they're open, or you will see there should be an icon that looks like a rectangle inside like a triangle inside a square. What that is, that's a quick switch. So if you were to click on it, it would then pull up all the programs you have open at the time. Kind of like how you can see here, there's 4 programs open. And it should have a little outline around the program that you have open at the time. You could just click on the other one next to it, or one of those, and it would quickly switch to that program. And it would still keep all the programs open. It would just pull up which one you're looking at the time. You can also bring up this view by holding Alt and pressing Tab, and it would also bring up this view. Here is a little thing in case a program or application freezes on you. So what that means, if you're clicking on the application but nothing seems to be happening, it may be frozen, or what we also can call hung up. So what you would do is you can bring up the task manager by holding either Control-Alt-Delete or Control-Shift-Escape, and it should bring up an option to click on Task Manager. Task Manager will then bring up this display here, and it will show all the applications that you have open, even background processes. But these ones up here under apps are what is open. And if it seems like one of these programs is frozen, you can click on it until it's highlighted blue, and then you would click on End Task, and it would close that program for you. And then you could reopen it and try again. Okay. Going into customizing the Start menu. And again, if you have any questions, you can put it in the Q&A or chat at the bottom of your screen. This is customizing the Start menu. So if you know, there are some programs you're going to be using every day, such as like your email or Microsoft Word or something like that. You could pin it to start. What you would do is, as this icon shows, use your right mouse button. So you know how you have the left mouse button and the right mouse button. Click on the right mouse button over the program, and it will should bring up this menu here where you can pin it to the start. And what that's going to do is going to like pin it into the tiles here. There's also sometimes an option to pin to taskbar, which would then pin it to the bottom taskbar here. So you can find quick ways to find the program real fast, whether in your tiles or in your taskbar. So you see here now that this calendar tile has been pinned to the start tiles. So it could show up here. If you realize that maybe it's a program you don't use very often, sometimes they might put like Photoshop or something like that, something you might not use very often. To the tiles, you can right click on the tile and you would unpin it from start. So it would just take the tile off, but you would still be able to find it in the apps menu here. You can see, you can also resize the tiles. So if a tile is too small, it's too hard to read, or you know, is a program you're going to be using a lot, so you want it nice and big, you can resize it to make it bigger or smaller as well. You see here, you have an option from small tile to medium tile to wide tile to very large tile. So you have some options here of how big you want the tiles to be. Under the More menu, when you right click, you can also turn what they call a live tile on. So if it's a program that can give you updates, so as for example, they use the weather app, you can also have like the email app turn live. So it can give you updates right from there. You don't even have to click on the tile to get the updates. So if you want to know the weather right away when you open up your computer, you can turn it live, and so it can give you updates right away without you even having to open the program. Also, for more customizing of the Start menu, you can also drag the tiles around within this area. So if you know you want your calendar or your weather or your mail tile like all right in one spot, you can click and hold on it and drag it around. So you can see here they put a tile right at the top here, but you can also have it more towards the bottom or to the left or the right. You can also group the tiles. So if you were to left click on the titles right up there, they give you like some standard tiles, but if you want to customize the name some more, you can left click on it and rename it. And now we're going to go into some of the system settings. So system setting is where you can customize your computer even further. When you click on the Start menu, you will see here some options. Right here, the one that looks like a gear, this is where you can find your settings. This right here is the power button, so that's where you would turn on and off your computer, if I'll be going into that. Then they bring up this menu here. We have quite a bit of options. You have system settings, devices settings, network and internet settings, more personalization settings, account settings, time and language, ease of access, privacy, and also update and security. I'll be going a little bit into each of these. This is also where you can find it in the notifications. In case there's any updates, a lot of times you will find it right here. So I'm going to go back for a second. I'm going to pull it up here. Hopefully you can all see this screen. Let me know if you cannot see it. As you can see, I clicked on my Start menu and I will go to my settings here. And here you can see it. I'm going to go first quickly into the system settings. Also, at the top, if you know you're searching for something in particular in the settings, you can search for it right here. So I'm going to go into the system settings. And this is where you can see on the side here, display, sound, notifications, power sleep, lots of different options. Here in display first, this is where you can set the brightness of your display. So if you're having trouble, if you feel like your display is not bright enough, this is where you can set it here. This is also where you can change the size. So if you feel like the programs are a little bit hard to see, you can change the size here as well. Also sound, right in here. This is where you have sound settings. So if you're plugging in new speakers or new headphones for the first time, you may have to select them here to make sure that will be going through your speakers and your headphones. This is also where you can change the volume here. And this is input is if you have a microphone in, like I do, you can see it's picking up the microphone here. Notifications as well. So if you get any notifications from your apps, this is where you can control the notifications right here. Also very important, I'm going to skip down a little bit to power and sleep. So if you want your computer or your device to turn the screen off or go to sleep to help save battery, if you're away from it, this is where you can set it here. And you can have it whether it's running on battery power or whether it's plugged in. Battery power, especially for laptops and smaller devices. If it's a large PC, it probably won't work unless it's plugged in. And then here, I can also set whether I want it to disconnect from the network while it's asleep to help save more battery. Going back over here to battery. This is just giving me an outlook of the battery life. So if you have an older battery, this might be lower because it's lower battery life. I can also put on like a battery saver mode. So It will use less power when it's not plugged in, but it also might mean programs might run a little bit slower because it's not using as much power. So these are the main ones for system. If I want to go back to the main home screen of settings, I can click here. It'll take me back to this page. Devices, so if you're connecting new devices such as printers or Bluetooth mice or Bluetooth headphones or anything, other things like that, they will show up here in devices. So for example, this one has been connected to a Bluetooth mouse before, keyboard, other mice, other headphones, other phones. So you can see what devices it's been paired with before. And if I want to add a new device, I would see up here, this plus, I would click on it and it would ask what type of device I want to add, whether it's a Bluetooth, a wireless, or anything else. I would click on that and go forward, and then it would try to connect for me. There's also printers and scanners here. So it shows all the different printers and scanners it's been connected to before. If I want to add a new printer or scanner, I can do that here. It also breaks it down further between mice, touchpads, any other typing in Windows, USBs as well. So it has a whole breakdown for different ones here. Another important setting right here, the network and the internet. So this shows what I'm connected to right now. If I wasn't connected, it would have a big X on it to let you know that you're not connected to the Wi-Fi. Here, you can click on to show all the available networks. This is where you would first set up your Wi-Fi for the first time as well. If you're having any problems, you can have the network troubleshooter right here, and it can give you a little guide as to what possibly might be wrong. Here's also the Windows Firewall that comes standard with Windows 10. You can click on that and it will give you updates on the firewall and such. So that's the status. You also have Wi-Fi here. This is where you can turn on and off your Wi-Fi as well. And again, here you can, it shows what you're connected to, the status of the connection as well. You can also, if you still use dial-up or a VPN, this is where you can find information about that here. Here is also airplane mode. So if you're on a device, such as a laptop or a tablet or something that you're actually able to bring onto an airplane, and a lot of times, you know, they'll ask you if you're using your device to put it into airplane mode. This is where you can find it. You would just switch it on, and it would then limit your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth use on the airplane. But here it is. If you want to use your laptop on an airplane and they ask you to put it into airplane mode, this is where you find it. Here's also where you can find info for mobile hotspots, if you have a mobile hotspot that you are using. This also shows your data usage as well, how much data you've been using within a set amount of time. And if you need to set a data limit, if you have a plan or something like that, you have to set amount of data, you can set it here. Also, personalization here, this is where you could change your background, like a certain picture or whatever you want to use. You can use it to give you some standard ones to use, but then you can also use some from your own picture files if you want. Here you can also even pick colors if you want to set a certain color for your background that you want. You can even set the lock screen. So when you're signing in, when you first turn on your device, usually has a lock screen that you have to sign into. There's also themes you can choose from, fonts you can choose from. There's some certain fonts you read better than others. You can set a certain font. This is also where you can customize some more of your start menu. So you can have set how many tiles. If you want more tiles at your start menu, you can have more on. You can even turn on and off the app list if you want. You can show or not show your most recently used apps. You can even have fill up the whole screen when you turn it on. So you can set some of those right here. In the taskbar, you can even hide the taskbar if you want, but I find that then difficult to switch between apps if you have that off. So I usually have the taskbar on, but you can have some more settings here. For the taskbar, you can even set where you want the taskbar to show up. Usually it's standardly at the bottom, but you could have it like on the left side, at the top, or on the right side if you want. Back here, this is where you can uninstall apps if you want. So here it will list all your apps as well, but you could uninstall the program if it's a program that you don't use anymore. You can uninstall it from your computer or device. Also accounts right here. This is the accounts on the computer. So you can even put a picture on your account if you want. And this is where you can set up the sign-in options when you sign into your computer. You can even turn on and off require sign-in. This is locked for us right now since it's a work computer, but you can, if you want, not have sign-in. You can just have your computer start out automatically without having to sign in. But here is also where you can find your password and stuff like that, or even set up a picture password if you want. There's different options for the password. Time and language. So if English is not your native language, you can set the language for your computer as a different thing. Here, you can set the language. You can also set the date and time. You can also set the region for your computer. And here, if you're having like text to talk, you can set the language for your microphone. Let's see, the other most important one is ease of access. This is great for if you have either vision, hearing, or interaction problems with your computer. There's a whole bunch. Again, you can make text bigger, you can make everything brighter. Also, the cursor and pointer. If you notice my cursor, it's blue right now. So you can even change the color of your cursor if the standard white is too hard for you to see. You can also make the cursor bigger. Right now I have a little big, but you can make it very big if you want, as you can see, almost too big. But there, you can set it to like a medium size. You can have it so that the pointer even changes color if it goes over a darker image. You can make the typing cursor bigger when you're typing. If the little tiny one is too hard to see, you can make it much bigger or thicker. It also is a magnifier, so if you put it over a certain spot, you can have it magnify what you're hovering over. There's also color filters here, high contrast, and also a narrator. So if you highlight something, it will read it to you. For audio, for hearing impairments, you can change the volume, but also turn on mono volume. and they can like change the audio alerts, and there's also closed captioning options here as well. And then here for interaction, if you have a hard time interacting with computers, they have some options set up here that you could like into your microphone, say commands, and then the computer will do the commands for you. They also have more keyboard options for you, mouse options. And then if you have the correct devices, there's even eye tracking devices now. You would have to get separately, but we can talk you through eye control as well. And then here's also a search function for your files. Some more settings for Cortana. If you want to set up a Cortana, you can have Cortana work for you through the microphone by just saying, "Hey Cortana," and have that on. There's also some more privacy options. App permissions, whether you can allow apps to use the camera or the microphone. And here also is another important one, the update and security settings. You should always probably check on your Windows update to make sure everything is up to date, usually at least once a week. But you can also have it set to update and install updates automatically. Right here is also where you can check for updates right there. Is also where you can find Windows security settings, where you can do virus scans and such to make sure that your device is up to date and safe. Here's also where you can set up recovery in case anything were to happen to your device. You can set up a backup and recovery here. And also this is where you can find troubleshoot. If you're finding something doesn't seem like it's running correctly, you can try either for internet connections here, whether there's something wrong with playing audio, with your printer, with your update, Bluetooth, all sorts of stuff. If you feel like you're having trouble with one of these, you can ask it to run a troubleshoot and it can see if it finds anything wrong. Okay, that was settings. I'm gonna close out that again. If you have any questions throughout the program, there's a little Q&A at the bottom or the chat at the bottom of your screen. You can always put in some questions, or if you feel like you want me to go over something again or explain, go more into more detail, always feel free to go ahead and put that in. I'm going to go back to our little presentation here. Also, you can also search for what's called control panel. That can also go into more of the settings here. You can see it kind of breaks down more of the settings, either language settings or the mouse settings. This is also where you can find some of those options. This is the control panel. Another quick way also, if you want to personalize the background of your desktop, you can right-click on an empty space on the desktop. As you can see here, they kind of just right-clicked on the empty space on the desktop. And it'll bring up this menu. And you can see at the bottom there, they have a personalize. That's a quick way you can go to the personalize feature of the desktop and like pick the photo that you want to put in the background. And again, in the background here, you can pick, if you just want a solid color, or you don't want a picture in the background of your desktop, you can just pick a solid color, and you can choose from the colors, or you can also, again, choose from the picture, or even a slideshow, but some people might find that distracting to have a slideshow going in the background of your desktop there. Here also, again, for moving around your programs, if you don't want to just pin to start, pin to taskbar, you can find it under More, and you can pin it to the taskbar down at the bottom there. Okay, and then going into File Explorer, that is where you can find all your different documents, pictures, videos. You can find it in the File Explorer. Breaking down what the File Explorer looks like. At the top here is a navigation pane, so that will tell you where you are in the File Explorer, what folder you're looking into. Quick access is usually the most used files where you seem to go the most. And then here it breaks down more of the common folders right here. Also up here is where you have their frequent folders where you go. And then also we'll have your most recent files, the files you've opened. Also where you can break down the icon views and the layout in this navigation pane up here. Right here is where you can change the size of the file images. So for example, if you're looking at pictures here, you can see there, you can kind of tell what it looks like, but for some people, they might need it bigger to see which file they're opening. So you can change the size. You can either have extra large icons, in which case they're going to take up most of the screen here, so you can really see what you're opening. There's also large icons, medium icons, small icons, a list view, which will have like a very small icon and then a little bit of detail about the file. Details will have, again, a small icon and a little bit more details about the file. Or you can also just have content or tiles, which will mostly just have detail but not much of a picture of what it is. Right. And then before I go into Microsoft Edge, I'm going to show you a little bit more of what the File Explorer looks like. So you can see here the quick access and then the files. And you can see my most recent files here and frequent folders here. So if you want to just search the files, you can click in to the right over here. But that will just search quick access. If you want to search the entire PC, you would click on this PC and then go into the search file here, and it would search all everything on this PC here. And as you can see, this navigation pane has again changed to show exactly where I am. If I want to change the view, here we go, is where we would change the icons. So right now you can see I just have it on tiles. But I could change it to large icons if I want. And you can see it's made everything much bigger and easier to see here. So now if I wanted to go here, this would search just this hard drive here. And I could click into each file and it would bring me to the next file, and you can see my progress so far, or where I've clicked into. And I can click into here and you can see I've clicked into there. Here we go. And then I can go into pictures here. And as you can see right here, it shows that I just have the details. So it just shows the file type here by the icon and the name of the file, when it was last modified. So you can see when I last opened and made some changes here, some of them not for quite a few years. And then again, the file type here, and then how big the file is right here. And say I want to sort this bunch of files by when I last opened it. I can click on this, left click, and it will automatically sort it by the most recently opened file, and then the last farthest away. If I click it again, it's going to flip it. It's going to have the oldest file, and then the most recent file down at the bottom here. So I can do that for each of these columns here. If I want to sort by name, just click on it. It's going to sort it by name here. If I want to sort it by size, I click it here, and we'll do it by the largest file and then the smallest file. So I can do that. If I wanted to open a file, I would just double click on it with my left mouse button. But if I want to see more information on a file, I would just right click on it with my mouse, and it will open up this menu here. And from this menu, again, I can open the file. Otherwise, I could edit the file in some different programs here. I could set the file, since it's a picture, I could set it as the background if I wanted to. I could print the file right from here. Further on down, I could share the file. That means I could share it via an email or something like that right from here. I could also open it. Now if I hover over this option, it gives me the option of which program I want to open it with. Send to, if I want to send it to a different folder within my computer, I could do that from here. Or I could even create a shortcut at the desktop, which I'll go into in just a moment. I could also copy the file or cut it. This is also where I could delete the file, and it would send it to what they call the recycle bin, which I will go into in just a moment. And then I could also rename the file from here. So, say I wanted to send this to a different folder in my computer. I could either select the folder right here. Could also create the shortcut right here. I could also, if I highlight this and then I click and hold with my left mouse button, you can see I kind of have it like floating. I have to remember to press and hold with my left mouse button, because if I let go, then I will won't lose it, but like I'll kind of like drop it, or I might accidentally drop it into the wrong folder. So you can see if I hover over this, it's giving me options to either move it to the desktop, which then it will create an icon on the desktop. I can also even copy it to pictures here, and it gives me even more options too. Different folders I could copy it to. I also move to. So if I move it, it means it's going to take that file and move it to this other folder. If it says I'm copying it, it means it's going to leave a copy of it in this folder that I'm in, but also copy it so it's to this folder. So it's going to make two locations for it. But say I don't want to do that, I can just drop it and it won't copy or move it anywhere. It's going to leave it right here. Again, if I right click and send to the desktop and create a shortcut, Now I'm going to minimize this, and it should have, yep, right here, made a little shortcut to this file right here. So that means it's still in this folder here, but it gives me a quick way to access this file right here from my desktop when I open up my computer, so I don't have to go into the File Explorer and find it. So if I know there's a project or a document I'm going to be working on a lot, I don't want to have to keep going to the File Explorer every time I want to open it. I could just make a little shortcut here. The only problem with making shortcuts, if you start making too many shortcuts, it is going to like fill up your desktop really fast. So just be careful with making lots of shortcuts. And also always, if I right click on the shortcut, I should be able to just delete the shortcut without deleting the file. There we go. And see, it's still here. So that's one way to get to your files real quick. Also, if I'm completely done with the file, if it's taking up too much space on my computer, I can always delete it like that. And so it will be deleted from here, but it should keep a copy of it in this recycle bin here, right here. If I open that, I will see things that I have deleted. So it doesn't take up as much space in here, but it's still on my computer in case I ever accidentally delete something. If I know I definitely do not need these files anymore, I can empty it. So that would delete the files I have selected, or I can also restore them. So if I accidentally deleted them, I want them back in my File Explorer, I can restore them here. But I will undo it. No excuse. That would delete everything. Sorry, hold on. I can right click on it and delete it that way. Yes. And then I can just close this using the red X here. So that is the File Explorer. And that's how you can create shortcuts real fast and delete files and restore files. See, I have some time, so I'm also going to touch real quick on Microsoft Edge. So Microsoft Edge is the internet browser that comes standard with Windows. You can also download like Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox if you want, but Windows 10 automatically comes with Microsoft Edge. So like other internet browsers, it has the address bar, which shows which website you're on. It also allows you to search the internet. You also have your tabs at the top of the program. That is all the windows that you have open at that time. Also, if you want to open a new tab, you would hit the plus icon at the top there, and it would open up a new blank tab for you. Up there, near the top, they have a star that is your favorites, your favorite websites that you know you go to a lot. So if you don't want to keep searching it up every time, you can add it to your favorites. So you can just go to your favorites and click on it and go automatically to the page. Also here, you kind of see these three lines here. This is like a further menu. The arrow pointing down is download, so it shows any current downloads that you have, or you can also see any past downloads you might have. Here is also the one that looks like a clock. That is your history. Usually you can have it as just your current history, like any pages you went to that day, but you can also have further back history, maybe like the last month. Just depends on how long you keep your history saved. Here, also there, near the top there, that is bookmarks. So you can also bookmark certain pages if you want to go back to them. And then you can see usually at the furthest right part of the screen at Microsoft Edge, they have 3 dots that usually look like ellipses. That is like a further pull down menu, where you can see you can open up a new window. You can open up a new what they call in private window in Microsoft Edge. This is where you can also zoom in on the page. If you're having trouble seeing the page, you can zoom into it. But most important, further down, is where you can see the settings specifically for Microsoft Edge. And in those settings, you can choose a theme for Microsoft Edge if one theme is easier to see than the other. Here you can also select the start page. So what page you want Microsoft Edge to open up to, whether it's like your email or your favorite news site, something like that. Here you can also see the favorite settings. Also here, important is the clear browsing data. So if you feel like your session might be running a little bit slow, sometimes clearing the browsing data can help clear up what's called the cache. If the cache is full, sometimes it runs slower, so that will help clear out the data. Also, clearing browsing data will unsave any, you can select to unsave any passwords or any forms you might have filled out. If you feel like you've filled out something sensitive, you can clear out the browsing data, and that should clear that out as well.